Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
Have fun. Loosen up. Loosen up. Hello, Laura. I'm Kim Crumley.
I'm Laura Rancorn.
And together we are Counselor Accents. And Laura, I see you all dutied up for homecoming week over there at your school.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. I love that. I love the whole school spirit stuff. That's so much fun. And just this season, school back, and a little bit of nip in the air, and thinking about all the warm, comfortable things that come with back to school kind of stuff, like the pumpkin spice coffees and the pumpkins out and all that kind of stuff.
Please not talk about pumpkins, please, because surely I've told you about the pumpkin incident of 1987.
I feel like I've triggered something. What
you have? So back in 1987,
way back.
But my parents purchased pumpkin munchkin Little Debbie's on clearance from, I don't know, Save a Lot or something. And so they packed one in my lunchbox every single day for snack. And I am a creature of habit. You know this. I can eat beef and cheese.
It is like, when she says that, take it to the nth degree.
Yeah. So I eat the same thing every single day.
Yes.
And so it takes me a while to burn out. Well, somewhere between October to January, I overdosed on pumpkin munchkin. And it is something that
maybe they just got old. I don't know that
they might have gotten old.
Little babies don't get old because
if they were already at Save a Lot, they probably were already close.
They were probably. So just think about how old they had to be, because I have heard you can lay a ding dong up in your shelf at school, and 30 years later you can eat that thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you just did get sick of them. So continue. I can see there's a lot of pain.
It's something that my teacher and I will never forget, and probably the surrounding classmates, because there was truly a pumpkin munchkin incident.
And the school still talks about it and have banned all. You've ruined pumpkin spice latte for that teacher.
And they don't make pumpkin munchkins anymore. They call them something else now, and I think it's because of that.
I don't know. Was there a lawsuit involved in this at all?
There was a good opportunity for one, but yeah. Anyway, so anytime everybody gets all excited about pumpkin anything, I think about that.
Well, I don't want to make this about me, because this is not about pumpkins, but I will say, I don't know if you remember the grasshoppers.
Oh, yeah.
Are they Jolly Ranchers or grasshoppers?
Or
is that the same thing?
They're definitely
like Jolly Ranchers.
The same thing.
So anyway, like I got sick on it was a peach Jolly Rancher.
Okay.
And they are the same thing, Laura. So whatever.
What are grasshoppers are those mint cookies.
No, this is something different. Think Jolly Ranchers. It's a little sucky candy. And
I know
so I got a peach one. To this day, Laura, to this day, I can't stand the smell of peaches. I can't stand, and
you're fairly
it's close to Georgia. I don't want to offend our Georgia listeners or cause the crops to, because we have so many listeners. I don't want to, cause any,
you don't want even one to fall away.
I don't want even one peach lover to fall away. But I get it. But I hate that happened to you, because pumpkin is like my favorite color, my favorite smell, my favorite taste. People know it and bring me. The folks because I'm out here in the country, if I have folks who go by Starbucks that work here, and every now and again, they'll bring me because it is the season. And I'm already like 4 in. And I know I'm a Starbucks girl. You're a McDonald's girl. Please take that the way I mean that to sound, because I mean that to sound that way. Do I think I'm a little bit better? I do. A little bit of a food snack. No, but let me just say, I had my first McDonald's pumpkin spice, and it was delicious. It was
Well,
really, really good.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so it doesn't affect
but you are a McDonald's
Diet Dr.
kind of
Pepper
gal.
drinker.
So I wanted you to know, I acknowledge, I'm trying to make you feel better and bad at the same time. That's called passive aggressiveness.
And you're so good at that. Like, that is your gift.
Well, let's roll along here, Laura. And today we're going to do some very, and we love to have guests. Am I right? I mean, we love to have guests. That's our favorite. But we also love to hear each other just gab and talk. So we can't just do that. But we do share with one another a lot of things that we use. And we thought, why not share with our listeners? And so we just kind of had this conversation going back and forth about these apps that you can use with students. And sometimes they're not made for the purpose that we're using them for, but we use them. And sometimes they are, but sometimes not. So we wanted to share, and can I call it fall apps, Laura?
Can I do you one better and call it full apps?
We are going to give you 8 flap ideas.
Well, you kind of have to
has
emphasize.
Nothing to do with what's hanging over the side of our britches.
Oh, gosh.
Which is also the abs that are hanging over are also called flaps.
It's called a pumpkin munchkin top, right?
It's called a pumpkin spice latte top and a pumpkin little Debbie top, if you will. So I don't know how you want to do this. We didn't talk about it beforehand, which is typical Laura Kim. But why don't I do one, you do one. I do one, you do one. Okay. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, fine.
Fine. Whatever.
Let's pick a number between 1 and 10. Pick it. Pick
7.
a number. It was 5. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It was 5. I'm sorry. And okay.
I don't even know why we were picking a number. To see who goes first?
That's why. Yeah.
I already conceded and told you could go first.
I know, but I thought we'd make it, you told
a game.
me.
We gamified it. That was an example. Example number
one. And let me just say earlier today, you told me make lessons we were talking about making lessons engages. This is not a tip, but it is. And you said even adding a beach ball and throwing that beach ball out as you ask questions is engaging. So I thought I would engage. And you tried to engage me today by putting a timer on me. It did not work. So back to our flaps.
Okay.
Our fall apps flaps. I have discovered a way for kids to, and I think this is a great coping mechanism because for a lot of kids, music is a great coping skill. And this also makes the creative that we love to help kids be creative. And it's a tech tool, and it's called Music Lab by Chrome. Or it's called Chrome Music Lab. And there are you may have used this before. If you haven't, it has various ways for kids to make music. And so in my mind, and I have used this, but if you were using this for more than an individual, then if they've got headsets, put those on them and let them go. Let them create this music and then maybe share with one another. So great coping skill mechanism. Even if you know nothing about, you're going to learn something about music through this app, but even if not, you're creating something.
I love the idea of that because, we encourage our kids. Creativity is the number one most hireable skill, according to Indeed. Yeah. That's one of those essential skills that it's our job to develop in kids. It's the new way of teaching careers. And so anytime we can give them a way to practice their creativity, and some kids are gifted musically. Some kids don't have the opportunity to know whether or not they're gifted musically or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is different. We don't have music opportunities in our school, this particular school, but unless the teachers, do that with them. But a lot of times the music is the responsive part of it, but not the creative part. And this is really, Music Labs is about the creativity of the music, and it'd be great collaborate. I can see when you said that about the creativity, I was thinking about the collaboration too. So
Well,
that would be one to try out for sure.
and I could see it working with a small group too, that you have a small
Oh
group
yeah,
that maybe can't get along with each other or something, or,
oh, that's good.
maybe not necessarily with each other, but just they have trouble getting along with others. This could be a great way to talk about a symphony and how we all have to learn to work
I see
together.
what you did there.
See?
You just created a lesson, and I love it. I love that how all the notes fit together to create something beautiful.
Creativity on the fly. That's
I
also
love
what we're doing
it.
today.
Okay, your turn
Okay.
with your
the
flap.
app-
I need you to say flap.
Okay.
Flap.
Flap number 2
Mm-hmm.
is, you know what? I'm going to storyfy this, which is another technique. Anytime you can storification and add a story. So I'd like to take you back to my first year as a counselor when I tried my best to organize a scavenger hunt,
Yes.
and it was the biggest mess you've ever seen in your life. Kids were running through the halls, and my first school, and that was not really.
Oh no. That didn't go over real well.
That wasn't celebrated. It was almost as bad as the time that I let the kids bowl in the hallway, but that's another story.
It almost reminds me, and I have to throw this in here, of when we had a drill, like an invader drill, and one of the teachers literally, we had kids injured climbing over a fence that was 10 feet high, and I think had barbed wire, and they caught them like 2 miles down the road just to get it. And so there are those stories that crack me up, and that you're involved in those so often crack me up, but I am too.
I'm ready. I'm willing to try something and let you know if it fails or not. That one was a failure.
Okay.
But anyway, it was fun. But I did send these kids on a wild goose chase. And the app that I have for you is called Goose Chase. And they have an educational version, but it's a way to sort of organize and execute your scavenger hunts. They have scavenger hunts that you can do like already in there. So the kids have, they'd have an app on their device, and so it keeps up with real time on your device. You can watch them real time. The kids can see who's in the lead, and you can time them or don't time them. And so, I don't know, it's worth looking into.
Absolutely. I have never heard of this before, so I'm so excited about doing this. And I can even see this for more than just my school counseling program. I can even see this for a reward system for the kids who, had the most points and whatever. We're going to let you do the goose chase scavenger hunt, because we're always looking for free things that we can do at school.
Yeah.
And how much fun would that be? So, or even think about it. Red Ribbon Week, a lot of people hide ribbons. But what if you hid things that a scavenger hunt that was all based on that red ribbon? And I don't mean hide drugs. please do. I am talking about, how cool would that be to hide the red ribbons, or I don't know, whatever, to tie that in to red ribbon. That's where my thought went, and That's exactly
the scavenger hunt that caused so much trouble my first year.
Was it? Are you serious?
It was red ribbon. Mm-hmm.
I did not know that, and that was painful.
Drugs.
I've triggered you again. I'm so sorry. Pumpkin, and now the red ribbon scavenger hunt. But I didn't know that, so that's pretty cool. All right, so this is another app that I have used, and it's called This Is Sand.com.
It's called what?
This Is Sand.com.
Like beach sand.
Like beach sand. Are you clearing up my accent for me?
I'm trying to, because there are some issues. And it sounded like you said saint when you first said it, saint.com, and that's going to send them to a whole different website.
Yes. And maybe they need to be there. I'm not saying they don't.
There's no judgment here. But then also, then you made it 2 syllables, sand.
I hear you.
Speaking of, learning syllables in the South like that is a whole other animal because everything has multiple syllables.
Oh, listen, I want to tell you, I got bit by a parent yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you. Her daughter's name is, I'm afraid to say the name.
Yeah, don't.
Let me make up a name that sounds like it. Let's just say the name was Coraline.
Okay.
So I have the megaphone and I'm yelling, Coraline. And the mother goes, Coraline. And I go, Coraline. And the mother goes, it's Coraline. And I said, I'm saying Coraline. But when I'm yelling it on the megaphone, it just sounds like I'm drawing it out. Maybe I am. But we did laugh about it. But
Well, that's good.
she really thought that everybody in the school was calling her, going around going, Coraline, I guess. I don't know. But we do drag out. This is called sand. I did it again, didn't I?
You did. But it's okay. Beach
Sand.
sand.
This is sand.com. And let me just say, Laura, this is, talk about relaxing. If you have a student who, you know how when you do something like knitting or just something, or what, it gets your mind off. So you're creating it's beautiful things that they show that people have done, but even the youngest kids could do it. But they create these artworks just pouring the sand in online.
Oh, wow.
And making the sand. So the first time I saw it, I thought, and this would be great. This would be great for students who need just some time to relax or calm down or get their mind on something else. Try it. You'll like it. It's great for individual counseling.
I can see that really working well with individual counseling. Students that just need that it's almost like a coping skill, because I always tell students, if you just need to come in here and take a deep breath and reset. So working with the sand, I mean, I get out my sand tray every now and then, and I'm sure the custodian at my school would wish that I would find an app for that, and you have, so I'll have to let her know.
All the different colors, and we always say we like hands-on, and we've even talked and done presentations on hands-on and old school, but these are just great apps like we were talking about today during our school day today. Mm-hmm. During the day today, there were situations that came up that you might have one back to back, and you've not finished the first stuff, and you can't think, what can I do? And the kid just needs a place to calm. It's your turn.
Well, that's a really good segue into one that you have told me about.
Okay.
And so I'm going to steal this one from you. So if it was on your list.
Okay. That's fine.
But it's called Cymbaloo. That just made me think of that name that you were calling out.
Cymbaloo.
Anyway.
I love Cymbaloo. Yeah.
It is Symbaloo. Cymbaloo. And the best way that I can describe it is it's a big, almost like a Jeopardy board, lots of squares, but inside each one of those squares are the apps that maybe you go to the most. So the way that I can envision using it is having one for individual counseling sessions. So if I have a student that's dealing with anger, then I can go to my anger Cymbaloo and pull up some of these apps, even the ones that you and I have talked about today, to let them work on. You use it with individual students.
Absolutely. And the thing about this is this has been around a while. I am new to it this year, but in Cymbaloo, you can create these tiles, is what they're called. And it's almost like a choice board. You could use it as a choice board. So a lot of educational sites that are already out there have a tile already created. And like some of them just talked about, like Music Lab maybe have one. I don't know if they have one, but maybe Goose Chase might. I don't know. Canva probably does. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'll let you have that one because you are the Canva queen. But the tiles are already out there. And if there's not a tile for it, you can create a tile for it. If there's something that you go to a lot, so you put a little work in the front by going ahead and creating. It's almost like creating a choice board. and I guess it's just according to how you're going to use it. But there's also Symbaloo for educators, just to put things that you as a educator would use.
Okay.
So check it out. Yeah,
Keeps
I think
you
that's
organized.
Yeah, it's a great organizational tool if you've not looked at that. So my next flap is called Quick Draw, and I have not tried this with my middle school, but that's where I'm going to try it. But you could try it for any age, but it's timed, and it will give you you have so many seconds to get this drawn, and they recognize that you have drawn whatever they've asked you to draw. But I can just see kids it's a whole lot like Pictionary, except an updated version of that kind of. So, but that's not the only drawing app that's out there that, there are a couple of those drawing apps that gives you a time or they try the app itself's trying to guess what you're trying to draw, kind of like so check out some of those, because I was really thinking about using that more as whole group, just having some fun before I get started with my class, maybe doing
That's
something
good.
fun like that. Yeah.
Get them engaged. Yeah.
Yeah. And, there may be, I know you and I could tie it into something that some kind of lesson itself, but standing on its own, just to coming in and let's do a quick draw, have fun, engage.
Did you know that I have not lost a game of Pictionary in like 20 years? Did you know that?
Really? I did not know that. How have we never played this?
I don't know. You and I would own it because we know what the other one's thinking anyway. But there was one game in question circa 2001, maybe.
Okay.
That is the one game in question. But other than that, I am the reigning champion.
Well, I did not know this about you. I feel just to be honored to be in your presence. I'm going to be honest with you right now. So I don't even know why you're a school counselor when clearly you could go on the road.
And it's not that I have a strong art technique. It's just that I'm able to connect with my partner.
I hear you.
And I just, yeah. So I feel like
does it matter who the partner is?
I have my preferences, but I feel like I can make it work with anybody. I'm adaptable.
And your humility is touching my heart right now. And let me just say, who plays Pictionary anymore? Anyway,
well, that's one reason why I'm the reigning champion after 20 years. Nobody plays.
You're playing by yourself. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is it your turn for a flap?
It's my turn. Now, you mentioned Canva, and once again, I would like to storify this because a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember if it was on a podcast or just in our daily conversations, you made fun of me for a good old-fashioned collage, but I may or may not still have students come in for individual sessions, and I may or may not still get out my magazine cutouts and let them do a collage. So when you made fun of me, I thought, is this outdated? Like, am I still wearing polyester and everybody's moved on to linen? Like, I don't want to be.
You're even past linen. So let me just say, all I could picture was the hoarder house that I've got. Please save those magazines. Please. Do you have any extra magazines that I can have? I need all your extra magazines. And you have all these magazines stored up like some kind of hoarder. And then you start dragging out magazines and looking through. And there is no telling when you're in those magazines, you got to go through all that, especially with middle schoolers. You got to go through all the Depends and all the all the stuff that just can crack them completely up. And it's just like, and then I'm just picturing scissors and glue. So yes, it's not my favorite activity, but tell me how you can make this work for me.
Number one, I don't really let them glue it. They just lay it out on a piece of paper. So then I reuse them.
Don't justify. Do not justify polyester.
Secondly, you're mentioning the whole Depends and how you have to go through the magazine. That was another difficult lesson learned my first year. And the more we go through this, it's a wonder I survived my first year and was asked to come back.
Yeah.
There's a story. Anyway, Moving on. So I thought there's got to be a way to update this since you laughed at me. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you
You're
for pushing me
welcome.
forward.
You're welcome. That is exactly the only reason I mock you is to make you better.
Yeah. But so I went online to see, and it turns out nobody online does collages anymore either.
Turns out you were right.
No, there were several apps, and one of them that was mentioned was Canva. And Canva is just a treasure trove all on its own.
It really is.
When I saw that they mentioned Canva, I was like, you know what? That is a great idea because you can start either with a blank piece of paper, blank canvas, and let them just pull over either stickers or even like animated.
Yeah.
Stuff.
And you can just type in like
how you're
whatever you're looking
for,
and they can create that. That's great. That's wonderful. I love that. And if you're not using Canva for yourself, it will create brochures and posters and what you see hanging behind Laura if you're looking like a year plan.
I hope you're not looking because this hair. But anyway.
It was a bad day all the way around. We've had a lot of rain. I'm going to be honest. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of humidity. Can't have good humidity.
And I will be honest, I'm in between. I don't know what to do with this anymore. So if anybody has any tips on what to do with my hair, I'm like, it's kind of like the polyester to linen thing. Like I'm starting to think maybe big hair isn't still in. I don't know. I enjoy big hair.
It looks like there's a group partying it and putting down the middle, and we're not there yet.
When I asked, where is the Aquanet? People looked at me weird. It made me start thinking, is this no longer a thing? So yeah. So if you are watching, I'm sorry because this is bad today. But anyway, moving on.
So we're almost to the end of our flap ideas, but this is another idea. And I'm really in the arts today. I've got a lot of music.
You are. You're artsy.
But this is just a great. I love Light Bright. I love Light Bright.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead.
Nobody's going to know what you're saying. Light Bright.
Mock me one more time.
Well, I've just, ever since we started having our episodes transcribed, and that time we had that man critique us, and he said he didn't have any clue what
we were saying. What was
an ice storm? Ice storm didn't come out the way we had hoped it would, and it sounded very vulgar.
He was like, "What are they? What were you talking about? Was it appropriate?" Well, it was an ice. It was a storm. I don't know how else to say it. Okay, Light Bright. Is that better?
I think so. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just thinking.
But you're just picturing it being transcribed.
And it will come out Light Bright.
Okay.
Light Bright. It's my Light Bright.
So there is a Light Bright for online usage. One person, which Light Bright is one person. But this is an online version. And again, I would use it the same way as I do This is Sand. And just if a student just needs to refocus, calm down, maybe take a few minutes before they go back out into the world and really just, sometimes doing an activity like this does the trick. It's a coping skill, and it teaches them there are things out there that they can do when they're mind. And face it, we've had a lot of trauma, a lot of things happen this year. So this is another. I've not used the Light Bright app yet, but we're still early in the school year. But I have tucked it away in my brain as I'm going to put it on I have it on my Symbaloo. So
I love that. I used to love Light Bright. And I had no idea that they had an app. And I'm thinking, as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking about students that are caught up. We say that it's true that the brain is pattern seeking. And so bringing them in to do a Light Bright activity could break some pattern in their brain where maybe they're not wanting to focus in their class or something. It's a way to motivate them, break that pattern of not paying attention
absolutely.
And just something they might enjoy doing. So good fun.
So, and these are things that everything that I've talked about is just a Google search away. I mean, you can Google, it'll come up. And so if you're using, it's just according to what device you're using, how you're going to get it to pull up for your students. But these are easy. These are free. We're not giving you anything that costs money. So these are all free things that you can use. And we like to think of them as hacks. These are not necessarily SEL. There are those out there, but these are things you may not have heard of or used before. So, Laura, I think we are toward the end of our flaps.
Can I sneak one more in there?
Please do.
Flap. Okay. It is an app called Stop, Breathe, and Think. And so you can have students come in, and it's a social emotional learning app that helps students regulate their emotions. How useful could this be with a student that's just having trouble with anger or anxiety or anything like that? So it is a free app, but it asks students how they're feeling mentally and physically. And based on their answers, it gives them a coping skill to use. And that coping skill could last, it could take them through like a guided tour of the coping skill that could last about 10 minutes. And so, how wonderful is that? Like,
it is.
Bring a student in.
And tell me the name of that one again.
Stop, breathe, and think.
Okay. I've not used it, not heard of it, so that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a dear friend of ours who we love, Miss Angela Cleveland. Shout out to Angela, who has actually written a book. Do you have it there to show? We'll put
Mine
it on.
is I am so not polyester. Mine is the ebook version.
I gotcha. Okay? I gotcha. And so this is Angela and Steve Sharp's book, and we'll put a link to it. And it's
called 50 Tech Tools for School Counselors. And it is full of some of these that we've talked about today are in there. And anyway, it's just divided out so well organized. It's almost like they're school counselors and they know what we want.
Almost like they are like major school counselors, like Counselor of the Year one year.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd think. Yep, that's Angela. And Steve is in what state doing what?
Pennsylvania, which don't even ask. It's not the breadbasket and it's not the show me state. Those are your go-tos.
I really don't know. There is a state okay.
But Pennsylvania has got it going on.
Yeah, we always say it's got it going on. And they've got Steve. And there you go.
Could be exactly why they've got it going on. But actually, they've got a lot of great people up in Pennsylvania. We've had several of them on our podcast.
I know.
They're amazing.
Wonderful. They are. So he's a co-author.
If it doesn't work out in Alabama, I was going to say I'd go to Pennsylvania, but that's not true because I can't survive in the cold. I just can't.
Oh, okay. They don't want you. Nobody's asked you. If you're thinking Steve's going to call you and ask you to come work up there, no.
There's also that, yeah.
Also, and I use a lot of origami for coping skills with my classes, and I wish I could show you my boxes. My principal laughs at me, but to have enough for everybody, you have to buy boxes of that stuff. Yeah. So I have boxes of origami, and I use it. And Angela Cleveland also does a lot of work with school counseling lessons and origami. So she has and we'll add a link to that. But
she wrote a book. Didn't she write a book
about this? So we'll add a link, and I have used some of those lessons that she has prepared for the origami lessons. Another great. So a lot of tech folks that we love who are school counselors, and a lot of, we hope, maybe if you can get something, just one thing, maybe one thing you learned today listening to this, one tool that you want to try, and let us know how it works for you.
We would love it if you would go and rate and review our podcast. It helps other people find our podcast. So go rate and review it. And also you can join our Facebook group. You can join our Instagram. We want to give a shout out to Jennifer. She sent us some fan mail this week and said that she had just discovered our podcast and she was enjoying it. And so that just made our day whenever we got to read that email. So thank you for taking the time.
And it was it was not even, I enjoyed that. It was like a very nice
descriptive. Yeah.
email and a book Jennifer wrote, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. We love those.
Yeah.
So
Very
shout
nice.
out to Jennifer. Anything else?
I think all hearts and minds are clear.
Okay.